Yes, sir.
Hold on. Let me get my tunes right. Why it resets. Grand Rising, good people. Get my joint on. Give everybody a sec to get up in here. Hope y'all had a great weekend. That's good. Y'all can hear me. We live. We live. Yo, Grand Rising. How was y'all weekend, man? I know it was a lot of rain up there. If you in Jersey, don't worry. We dealt with it. Just not to the extent that y'all dealt with it. But we dealt with it down here a little bit too. By the way, I'm convinced that everybody should just move to Miami, and then we can go back and forth between Miami and when we get some get a farm in like Tennessee, Texas, Montana, Wyoming, or something. Would y'all be with that? Yeah, would y'all be with recreating, or not necessarily recreating, I guess, but creating a village, a true village system? I always talk to my friends about this and family, like how dope it would be to just have a cool village that everybody can just lend a helping hand. Everybody can have a role and responsibility that they can embrace, and it almost operates within the village as a barter system. Of course, we need money. Can definitely have money that's produced by different things that we're doing within the village, whether that's growing vegetables, anything that we're making, anything that we're selling, doing podcasts, all these things, inviting people to come, have a day on the ranch, all different types of stuff. Or is it just me? Like, I feel like that would solve so many different issues and really allow us to elevate our quality of life in so many different ways. So, what y'all think? Am I just tripping? Am I just tripping? I may be. Give it a couple seconds. Ain't nobody asked for that song. Come on, bro. Ain't nobody asked for that song. Do not disturb. All right, we're going to get into it. We're going to get into it because Monday, y'all know our Monday shows aren't as long as our Friday shows, but we are going to get into it. Should I adjust this camera? Or do y'all like that angle? There we go. It's a little better. Yeah, it is what it is. It is what it is. All right, so I had a great weekend. Got my parents down here. My parents are down here in Miami for the weekend. Well, they came for the week, so that's always dope when they come down. Weather, we gotta do the weather report, of course. But make sure y'all spending time with y'all family. make sure y'all spending time with your family. In my 20s, I was more so focused on enjoying life with my friends, which is cool. But like anything in life, got to have that right balance. And if I'm gonna, be over on one side or compared to the other, it's definitely gonna be the family. And now, yeah, now I don't even now it's all family. It's all family and the friends. And for me, what ends up happening is, your friends that you do see, they become family as well. But you got to be we got to be real intentional with our time and make sure that we're spending time with our loved ones, especially our parents, our uncles, aunts, grandparents, if you are blessed to still have them. um Definitely, because obviously, like we know, life is short, or life can be short, I guess, all perspective based. But yeah, matter of fact, I'm not saying that no more. I'm not saying life is short anymore. But yeah, spend time with your family. It's definitely dope. MIA morning. Shout out to Ant. Ant is in the building. It is always a good day when my dog Ant is in the building. But yeah, spend some time with your family and friends. Call your parents. Make sure you're giving them hugs and whatnot. Letting them know how you appreciate them, especially all the sacrifices that they made. I feel that we don't truly appreciate those sacrifices or even understand them, so we can appreciate them until we get older. And then as we get older, we're like, oh shoot, like they really put everything on the back burner just to raise us. So it should be appreciated. But I want to actually start off today. Well, besides the weather, what's it looking like in Miami? Y'all know MIA mornings, 80. It's going up to 91. It's been a heat wave down here. I feel like it's been a heat wave everywhere. Looks like it's going to be mostly cloudy, or that's what it says, until it may rain at night. What we got in Jersey? Let me see. In Jersey, we got, oh, all right, Jersey, high of 90. Looks like it's going to be sunny all day. Now I'm hating. See, y'all had all that rain yesterday. Now I guess you get the benefit of the rain clearing everything out. So, but I want to start off with just reading a couple words from this book that I read like 4 books at a time, but this is one that I dove into by Neville Goddard. I hope I'm pronouncing this right. Goddard. And it's called The Power of Awareness. Dope. And it's one of those fast reading books. If you're the type that doesn't really, have a long attention span for books, this is a real good one because it's only like just every chapter is 2 pages, like 1.5 pages. That's it. But wanted to share a chapter called Subjective Control, and may not seep in with everything, as I'm speaking it, because obviously it's out of context for a lot of y'all, but it may be in context for a bunch of y'all as well. So just wanted to share a couple words from this. Shout out to Ant. Ant said that they got a heat warning in Miami. Be safe. Yo, yeah, it's wild, yo. It feels crazy. Yeah, it's definitely up there. It's definitely up there. But let me share y'all these words. And you'll mess with these words as well. You'll definitely mess with these. But all right, so it's your imagination is able to do all that you ask in proportion to the degree of your attention. Your imagination is able to do all that you ask in proportion to the degree of your attention. All progress, all fulfillment of desire depend upon the control and concentration of your attention. All progress, all fulfillment of desire depend upon the control and concentration of your attention. Your attention is directed from within when you deliberately choose what you will be preoccupied with mentally. Your attention is directed from within when you deliberately choose what you will be preoccupied with mentally. There is an enormous difference between attention directed objectively and attention directed subjectively, and the capacity to change your future depends on the latter. All right. There's an enormous difference between attention directed objectively and attention directed subjectively, and the capacity to change your future depends on the latter. When you are able to control the movements of your attention in the subjective world, you can modify or alter your life as you please. The day you achieve control of the movements of your attention in the subjective world, you are a master of your fate. And the last sentence Y'all really hear this one. Having achieved control of the movements of your attention and having discovered the mystery hid from the ages that Christ in you is your imagination, you will assert the supremacy of imagination and put all things in subjection to it. Having achieved control of the movements of your attention and having discovered the mystery hid from the ages that Christ in you is your imagination, you will assert the supremacy of imagination and put all things in subjection to it. Now, if you're not Christian, cool. I'm not Christian. However, when I see Christ, I just see God. So therefore, this last sentence, to me, all it's saying is that when you take control of the movements of your attention, when you take control of what your focus is, then that God in you, which is your imagination, you will assert it, the supremacy of the imagination. You can control your imagination. And when we control our imaginations, we control what comes to fruition in the real world. So that just stood out to me. Wanted to share that with y'all. And just start off the show like that, because it just moved me. Was thinking that hopefully it would move y'all. And yo, did y'all peep? Tell me if it's sometimes I peep. So you remember when I wrote or when I read your attention is directed from within when you deliberately, yo, what do y'all think of when y'all hear the word deliberately? Is it just me, or do I go back to Lion King when Mufasa, Simba is bugging when he goes to the hyena with the graveyard or whatever, the elephant graveyard, and with the hyenas, and he gets in trouble, and Mufasa's like, "You deliberately disobeyed me." Do y'all remember that? Every time I see deliberate, that's all I think of. But neither here nor there. Let's get to this show. All right, what are we gonna talk about today? Y'all got some damn nerve. All right, who is y'all, and what nerve do they got, and why? So I want to share a story with y'all. Share a story with y'all that happened last week with me, and I was caught off guard by it, but I thought it was an amazing thing. I thought it was an amazing thing. Not necessarily in a good way. I just was like, oh shit, this is like, all right, this is a situation. So, and it all focuses around who we allow to determine how we think and who we give power to speak for us on our situations and to have these super strong opinions on our situations. So I'm gonna go through it real quickly, but hopefully I just want to make sure that I'm thorough in it. But so I'm at Soho House. I'm at Soho House and I meet a couple nice ladies, and we just sit there, you talk. It's a social club. So we're sitting there and we're talking about, what each other does. One person's telling me that she's into flipping homes, but she also does like some dope stuff in the AI space. So I was intrigued. I'm like, okay, like that's the type of thing I want to learn about. Like once I start getting intrigued by stuff like that, everything else is out the window. Like I'm just trying to think like, yo, I want to learn about this. Oh, your dad flips homes? Okay, I want to learn about that. You're in the AI space. That's something that I know nothing about, something that I always hear could threaten this job, that job. I want to learn about it. So whatever. That's we say, oh, I'll be here. I don't think I told them that I'd be there the next day, but we said like, oh, we'll connect soon. And because I had to run. So I was like, we'll connect soon, talk more about the homes. That's just something that I'm really into. So the next day I get a message just saying, hey, I'm at Soho. If you wanted to chat, we can touch base now. I'm just doing some work. It was one of the girls. So I'm like, all right, cool. But I had to run. I actually had to go to a conference, and then I had to run back to the apartment. And I said, I got to run, but, I'll stop by and just say, what's up? So I stopped by. We started talking, about the real estate, or buying this home, flipping this, selling this home, whatever. And I should have known when this comment was made where the conversation was going to go. When she was talking about her new home, her plans, and she said, yeah, I'm just going to renovate the bathrooms in the kitchen. And with that, I think I'll be able to make a significant profit. So I said, oh, dope. Now, remember what I said? She said her dad helps her flip homes. That's what he does for a living. So I said, oh, dope. Like, is your dad going to be able to renovate the kitchen and bathrooms for you? And her response was, wait, you think I can't renovate bathrooms in a kitchen because I'm a woman. I said, wait, what? Like, no, like, I think you can't renovate bathrooms in a kitchen because most people can't renovate bathrooms in a kitchen. Like myself, I can't renovate bathrooms in a kitchen. I didn't think that was a thing that most people are able to do. So this is where the conversation was going. Then it went here. Then it went here. And this is why I say, like, y'all got some nerve. Some of these people have like the audacity, a lot of these people, but I'm always here for it. I'm always here for these combos. I love it. She gave me a show topic today. So then I'm sitting there and she comes out the blue and says, "So I stalked your Instagram." I said, "Oh, okay." And she said, I have questions." I said, like, who the fuck? Like, who the think she talking? Like, I'm like, hold up. Like, I'm like, all right, what's up? What's up? So she starts, she talked about like 3 different posts, which she clearly didn't even like actually even, I don't even think she actually listened to the entire post or read it. But the first one was discussing, and keep the gender stuff in the back of your head too. But the first one, she was like, "Oh, I saw something about religion where you said that spirituality is," and she couldn't even say what I said. And I finished it for her. I said that spirituality perhaps is religion without accountability. And she said, "Yeah." She said, "Well, just because you're super religious, or you must be super religious." And I'm sitting there just looking at her like you have no idea who I am, clearly. And I've never had anybody, I haven't had, it's been a while. I don't think I've ever had somebody accuse me of being super religious, because y'all know I'm not religious, but I always identified more spiritually. And that was the entire point of the post. Like, me as somebody who doesn't identify with a religion, who identifies as being spiritual, I had to wonder, if spirituality, what I embrace, is just the religion aspect without the accountability, because there's no rules or guidelines when it comes to just the spirituality aspect. So I said, "Did you like read the post? Like, did you actually listen to it? Because if you listen to it, you would know that I'm like the furthest thing from religious. That was the whole point of it. Or at least that was my initial, like, what I typically embrace. Like me, y'all know me, shoot, especially like years ago on here, I used to be coming at religions, man, coming at him. I just, neither here nor there. So that was the first one. Then she says something about, I don't know how we got on it exactly, where it transitioned to gender roles, where she kind of just said, "Well, what about the gender roles?" Or you said something that um, men need to do it. We're the same. And I said, "No, men and women are absolutely not the same. We are totally different, totally different." And she says, "No, well, we're the same, and studies and scientific research prove that." And I said, "What studies and scientific research?" I said, "Show me the studies and the scientific research, and maybe you'll change my opinion on it. But until then, no, like, genders, we're not the same." So then she's telling me about what her mission is in life, and how she told me that, "Well, you need to have an open mind for us to have this conversation. You need to be open to what I'm saying." And I said, "Interesting." I said, I said, Listen," I said, your tone, and you telling me that I need, like, who do you think you are to walk into a conversation with me and tell me what I need to do?" I said, "I don't need to do anything." However, and I said, "We don't need to have this conversation." And I told her, I said, "But going back to what you said you had studies and research." I said, "I'm always open. I always tell y'all I'm open to, I may be wrong. I'm going to stand on what I stand on. But if somebody can, present certain information to me where I'm wrong, yo, I'm always down to change my opinion," which is why I've changed my opinion on so many different things. If you scroll through my social media and you come across certain things that I was saying 5, 6, 3 years ago, it may have changed. It definitely has changed. So she tells me, what did she say? She was going off on a tangent and was just like, "Well," so then I said, "Well," I said, we're just not the same." And I said, "We shouldn't be treated the same." And I said, "So if I get into a fight with a woman," I said, "you're looking at like that the same as if two women get into, or I didn't even say the second part. I said, so if I get into a physical fight with a woman, and that's just, regular fight, just no issue there. She said, I would look at it the same as a woman getting into a fight with a woman, that just the violence is bad. And I said, wait, what? And then she tried to kind of retract that. And then she said, well, besides physical, we're the same. So I said, you keep saying that, and you keep trying to avoid this quote unquote clinical research and studies that you said that prove your point. I said, do you have that? I said, but here you're telling me what I need to do and what I need to be open to, but you have no background. I said, you have nothing backing up your point. So then, I didn't tell you, what race this woman was. She's a white woman. So then I said, the post that I talk about, especially with gender roles, me being a black man, the not embracing gender roles, in my opinion, I'm just telling y'all in my opinion, not embracing gender roles is one of the most destructive things that have happened to our community. And I said specifically, our men not living up to the role that our men need to play as the masculine role. I don't believe in masculine or feminine. What do you mean you don't believe in masculine or feminine? Okay, she doesn't believe in masculine or feminine. So I said, listen, your entire energy, this conversation shows a lot of the privilege that you have as a white woman. I said, you don't even understand how my community has been affected by the lack of gender roles, by the lack of us not living and fulfilling our particular roles so that we can hold up. Oh, shoot. Hold on. 1 second. My computer about to die. Hold up. Hold up. We good. We good. Wait, what? Hold on. Whew. I caught it just on time. So pretty much, so I'm telling her, Aunt Ro, you are way more patient than I. That's what my pop said too. But I actually welcome these conversations. For one, they give me some topics to have real life situations to talk about with y'all and to learn from. But I also learn from it, and I'm able to have some different conversations based on it. So I'm telling her, I'm like, do you even understand how this lack of gender roles and how we have had our men emasculated and removed from our households, and that why especially the black community, our African American, we find a new word, yeah, but for now I'm saying black. Our black community struggles so much because our men are not in the household and are not fulfilling this particular role. So she said, I disagree. And I said, here you go once again identifying your privilege as a white woman. You're telling me that you disagree with the impact that not having particular gender roles in the black family, how it's been destructive to our families. And once again, you're just saying you disagree, but have absolutely nothing to back that up on. No research that you claim that you have, no studies, no nothing. But you're just going to tell me that you disagree as a white woman, what goes on in the black community. So I said, okay. I said, well, you must be heavily involved in the black community for you as a white woman to feel that you can tell me about gender roles and how it's impacted the black family. So she says, yo, y'all not gonna believe this shit. She says, well, I date black men. Yeah, you can't make this shit up. So she says that she dates black men, and we kind of continue the conversation. And I don't know, it was to the point where I got to keep it real with y'all. So this person was not, without being mean, this person was not like the most attractive person in the room. You know what I mean? And I think she thought in her mind that she was like like, are you vetting me? Like, are you trying to, like, when I made it very clear, fellas, y'all know you can make it very clear, like when you're not interested, like in that type of way where it's a group of friends and I'm like, oh yeah, yeah, all of us, yeah, we could, oh, I'll get, we'll, all of us will exchange, and you trying to have the combo when you know that maybe one of them is concentrating the conversation on you a little bit more. And shout out to Kiki. Let's see what Kiki wrote. Kiki wrote, I wonder what her motive was. Did she want to trigger you, or maybe she thought what she was doing was attractive? Kiki, I think that she thought that she, I'm gonna be real. I think that she thought that she's an extremely attractive person, and that, oh, he must like me, so let me vet him and tell him about himself if he has a chance with me. And I really think, like, and this actually for me made me think about a lot of different things, like how confident some people are, where it's almost a little bit delusional. I'm gonna keep it real. It's almost a little bit delusional. And I don't know if that's because of how society, and obviously I don't think that all women are like this, obviously. All right. Like, do I even have to say that? But I think that because society has maybe told a certain type of woman or something like that, that or women in general, that, hey, y'all are all beautiful, y'all are amazing, you guys are God's gift, all these different things. And society encourages a lot of these. I don't know. Society encourages a lot of women, I'm just being honest, to overvalue themselves. I'm being real. Where I think that men, because you can be honest with men, you could tell a man, yo, you ugly. You know what I'm saying? You could be honest with it and critique a man, and men, we just got to take it. But if you critique a woman, we just live in a society where men are a little bit, Ant wrote, society or thirsty dudes. Yo, so all right. One or the other, right? And I'm gonna be honest, I don't even think it's the dudes. And I'm actually, I wasn't gonna tell the rest of the story, but based on you saying thirsty dudes, I'm gonna get into what funny happened the next day after that. But I think it's just, I don't know, but the audacity for you to be able to, like, even have the nerve to even have these conversations and to present it in a way where I'm right, you need to listen to me, rather than the approach where it's like, hey, like, yeah, what do you think about this? Like, I want to know your opinion on this. Like, there's a way to go about certain things. As we all know, it's not always what you say, but it's how you say it. And I was just so like taken back, where I'm like, yo, I got to continue this convo. So we kept it going for a sec. And there was another group that was sitting next to us. And I didn't mind them hearing the conversation. I actually wanted them to hear the conversation because I wanted to make her uncomfortable. I'm being real, because it's like, all right, you saying all this stuff. I don't mind, if other people hear the convo. I don't mind if what you're saying, and maybe I'll look crazy, maybe you'll look crazy, but hey, let's hear. So she was getting real uncomfortable now, where that confidence was starting to shift a little bit. And the main thing that I'm getting, telling her is just like, yo, like you don't even realize like the privilege that you have to say a lot of these things, because gender roles maybe affected you and your family and your community in a different way, to where maybe why you feel the way that you feel may be justified. I don't know. I said, however, for you to come on and try to push your thoughts and opinions on me in a way where you're not even in that equation, I just thought it was kind of wild. So I was sitting here and I was like, yo, what would make her, and Kiki, I need you to answer this for me. So I said, what would make her think that she could even like have such a strong, aggressive opinion on that, to where she's not even going to take in and absorb anything that I'm saying? And my takeaway was that it's because of Black women. And like I said, it always comes back to Black men, like whatever. It's always going to fall on the leadership. But this specifically, why she got the confidence boost, in my opinion, was because of Black women. Because I think that Black women have always been targeted by women's groups, feminist groups, and manipulated to the point where it's like, hey, you're getting mistreated over here, over there. Come join our women's group and put being a woman over being black or whatever else, you know, your community, your village, whatever your community is. So I just feel that that's always been a thing, whether you look at, you know, when the civil rights movement, you know, turned into, or, you know, I guess went from the civil rights movement to the women's movement. A lot of our women left. And I'm saying, let me repeat it. Yes, it all falls on the men. It all falls on the men and our lack of leadership. Done. Now, moving forward from there, I believe that she feels that she can have these comments because so many black women have allowed a lot of white women to speak on their behalf as if they know. You see it on the View with the lady Joy, where Joy is telling her viewers that Tim Scott doesn't know. She's criticizing him and how he thinks about black issues, talking about he doesn't know what's going on in the black community. She was criticizing Tim Scott and Clarence Thomas, where it's like, yo, who gives these, like, I would never just come on and just have a conversation where it's like, yo, in the Jewish community, y'all do this, y'all do that. He don't know what's going on in Jewish. That's not my community. I'm not involved. I'm not as involved in that community to where, or invested in that community. I don't have any skin in the game in that community to the point where I would feel like I could just start pressing people, especially Jewish people, about their community and what's going on, how I know what's best, and what, like, what, like, so that was just, and that was more of a story. I didn't want it to necessarily be a focus on the black versus the white, but more so a focus on, like, sometimes we live in these bubbles to where we think that we know any and everything, and these bubbles, we feel as if they are the true representation of what the world is. And I've had different conversations like this where, you know, somebody will just feel like, because this is my life, then this must be true. And throughout, you know, the community, whether they're involved in the community or not. So, and real quick, what I was going to say, and the funny part about it is, when I said it, when you said the thirsty dudes, the next day, bro, you're not going to believe this. The next day, I'm speaking to one of my boys. I didn't even tell him I'm speaking to one of my boys, and let's just say he's telling me about, like, yo, this joint hit me up. You know, she hit me up and was, I don't want to get into it. We're moving on. But I would just say that instead of the thirsty dudes, a lot of times it's just these, you know, thirsty, aggressive females. But or this female. I don't want to get into it. I don't want to put my boy out there. He may be, I don't know what his intentions are. So it is what it is. But these are just some of the thoughts that I was thinking, and it got me kind of, you know, I'm always, you know, digging a little deeper as to why she felt that she can have these combos. And then I got to thinking, you know, how do we learn? You know, how do we learn? Like, everything that we learn from the time that we're either born, or especially, you know, when we get into the public school system, how do we learn? Like, do we learn by doing our own research, doing our own independent investigation? Or do we learn from, hold on, I got to address Kiki. Nah. Kiki wrote, don't blame us, blame her whiteness. LOL, she's a product of entitlement. I'm going to tell you why I put blame on black women with this. And let me be very clear. I'm putting the ultimate blame on the black men. I got to keep saying that. Even when, I remember when Trump was running for president, there were a lot of these, when he put out the grab him by the whatever video, there was a lot of women that came together, and they were, you know, saying that this is bad. A lot of black women and white women came together. And when Trump got elected, I remember the day after, they had that rally. It was like the pink pussy rally, or pussy cats. They were saying, like, pink pussy rally in DC, which was to reject Trump or whatever, you know, the feminist, you know, whatever. Then when they looked at the election results, they looked at how the black women voted compared to the white women. The white women came out told y'all all this shit, but who did they vote with? They voted with who their husband, who they voted with Trump. But then the black women over here voted obviously against Trump in this situation. But the next day, all y'all out rallying together. So until like I can't address if there's a group of white men that are speaking on my behalf, and I'm making them comfortable speak on my behalf in a certain way to where a white man and I don't even want to make it really bad. If somebody in your community is speaking on something, or somebody outside of your community, let's say they're speaking to Kiki, a white man talking about black issues, bro, I put that battery in his back to where he feels comfortable doing that. I need to address that. Like, bro, you don't know what's going on over here. You don't know what's going on. Like you, I don't know what your intentions are, but you can't go into a situation that you're not involved in, that you didn't have any skin in the game with, and just think that your opinion should be valued over everybody else. That's what I'm saying. And traditionally, if you look at it, they've targeted women. Like they've targeted black women to, whether it's with the social programs or whatever else, to not need the black man, to make the black man as irrelevant as possible. So that's why I said that. But moving on, as far as, you know, how we receive our information, like I was saying, from the time that we're young, we don't independently investigate stuff. We just absorb stuff. We don't learn. We memorize and we absorb. And what do I mean by that? We don't, learning something, you know how you learn a lesson where you learn a lesson, you may go through something, or, you know, sports, you learn a lot of lessons, or you do a lot of research on something, you do a research project and you learn certain things, how they work based on other people's previous experiences, things of that nature. When it comes to how we are taught and how we absorb and what shapes how we think, it's all based on people who just have influence in our lives, telling us this is right, this is how you do this, that's wrong, that's not how you do this. From the time we're young, and it starts in the school system where they're pushing all of this useless knowledge on us that we'll never, you know, be able to apply to do anything in the school system. And like I said, it's meaningless stuff that we're learning, but we're not learning. We're just absorbing. Like if somebody teaches us history, if the teacher tells us that something happened, and something happened. Why? Because the teacher is an influential person. So for that, we have to understand that that's not learning. So when we carry on and realize, or to me, it's an indoctrination. But when we go throughout life, and then when we get older, we confuse learning with just memorizing and just accepting and absorbing. And in my opinion, that's not the way to go. That's not the way to go. So when we do that, we become accustomed to just, oh, well, how do you know that that's true, what you just said? Oh, because I saw it on the news. Or, oh, because such and such said it. Or, oh, because it is. And all of the opinions that we form are based on the people that we look up to, the people that are influential to us, pretty much just giving us the information. People giving us information is not learning. That's us accepting information. So clearly, even in her situation, she was given some type of information and she just ran with it. Even though she said that she had research and studies, there's nothing there. She's clearly doesn't go into situations where she asks and say, hey, you know, what's your experience here? Because my mindset was thinking this, but I just want to, you know, learn a little bit more about the situation. We don't do that. And we become accustomed to doing that. I was sitting down with my parents. Like I said, they're down here this week in Miami, and we were having lunch. And I was just thinking, I said, you know what? I said, Mom and Dad, I saw this video about Putin. And I'll show y'all the Putin video. I actually got it queued up. But I saw this video about Putin, and it was about how he made it a terrorist act to have GMO foods. Now, I don't know. I got to be honest. I got to look it up a little bit more, do a little bit more digging. It was a professor that was saying it, but that's neither here nor there. The point of it is, who can be? I told my parents. I said, I want to go to Russia. I want to go to Russia and just see what it's like. I want to see what it's like because I want to see if it's just what everybody says it is, or like what exactly is it? Because they make obviously Putin out to be like the biggest villain in the world. And for me, I don't just accept that. I don't just accept that. You want to know why? Because a lot of my heroes, they made out to be villains. A lot of the people that I look up to, they made out to be villains. When you look at Malcolm X, he was made out to be a villain. When you look at a Marcus Garvey, he was made out to be a villain. When you look at a lot of these people, who did they do the real good video on? I mean, the movie on. He was with the Freedom Fighters or in Chicago. I forget. They just did the movie on him. Not Stokely Carmichael, but like a Huey P. Newton. I forget if you saw that video, you saw that movie where he was bringing a lot of people together. He was the one that was shot where they entered. How am I forgetting? Hero. He was shot where they entered his house late at night and the FBI, whatever, you know. But all these people, they were made out to be villains. And if we didn't do our independent investigation and research, we would have never known. You know, let society tell us, we would just think that these people are villains. So I'm always skeptical of people that the powers that be tell me that I should hate or do so much to try to put dirt on somebody, to put dirt on their name. I'm always looking at it like, yeah, why are they trying to put dirt on their name? You know, I want to learn a little bit more about this. I've done this like with a Castro. Even when you look at like somebody like Bin Laden, not saying that Bin Laden's not a villain, but also saying when you do the research, you find out like, hold up, he was cool with the Bush's family. Like he was in the States, like, and you realize the actual relationship that he had with the United States rather than what they tell us, which is just something totally different than the reality of the situations. Still not saying he's not a villain. So when this conversation about Putin with my parents, I could see the hesitation where they're like, you know, like, you would go over to Russia? Like, I don't know. You know, they're just worried about their son. So there was a hesitation. And then when I've had the conversation with other people, you know, people have said like, I don't know if, you know, this is because I've had this conversation with other people and other people have said, I don't know if Putin likes black people. Like, I don't think Putin likes black people. And I'm like, wait, what? Wait, what? And this matter of fact, the same thing happened with Florida. When somebody was telling me, I told y'all before, when they were like, yo, you down in Florida, like DeSantis don't like black people. And you just hear all this stuff, but then you find out, wait, Florida has the highest growth as black businesses, like all these different things when you talk to black people that are in Florida. But because the NAACP said you should be scared to be black in Florida, or because the society tells us, you know, all these things about Putin, all this propaganda, all this whatever stuff, we formulate a view on it. But then it's like, we do realize that everything that we're told is usually to force us to think a certain type of way that is most favorable to the people that are giving us the information. So I said to this particular person who told me like, yo, I don't think Putin likes black people. I said, yo, what makes you think that? He said, I said, how do you even know anything about Putin? Like, what have you been told about Putin? Like, how have you received that information? And they said, through the news. And I said, I said, so that's just, you know, somebody just telling us what they want to hear. I said, would you listen? I said, say you have somebody in your life that you can't stand and they can't stand you, but then I meet them. Do you think that what they say about you when we have a conversation about you, do you think that it's going to be favorable to you when y'all can't stand each other? Or do you think that they're going to always look at the glass half empty and say like, yo, this person did this person that, and spew negative stuff about you? It's not going to be a true, accurate representation of who you are. So if America can't stand Putin, and if it benefits America to have all of us hate Putin, so therefore they can justify a lot of their actions. How do we know what that really, how do we know who he is? I don't know. Maybe y'all know. I don't know about him. I don't know a lot about him. I don't really watch the news, so I don't know much about him, but it wasn't really about Putin. It was more so about how do we receive our information? How do we learn? A classic thing is when Jesse Owens was in the Olympics, um, and he was going over to Germany, and he came back. I'm sure a lot of people were, worried about, him going over there with Hitler there and all these different things. And when he got back, he said that he was treated better over there than he is in his home in America. So here, they created like this big bad wolf type of thing with another country because it benefits them to spew this information. But in all actuality, it was something totally different. His real life experience was something totally different. But if he didn't go over there, like most of us ain't going over there, then we're just going to think based on the information that we accept and absorb, not our own investigation. And most of us ain't going to be able to go over there and do research and stuff like that. But at least to have maybe a different perspective on when we do receive information, perhaps that can unlock certain doors or unlock certain questions that we can ask to where we won't just be accepting information, right? And questioning things are very important for me, because when you question something, like that's learning. That's when you question something and you're like, oh, I don't know about this. If somebody tells me something I don't know, then I'm going to do my own research. And when I do my own research, I'll either double down on what they said and say like, yo, you were right. Or I'll say, yo, you may want to look at this. I don't think that you were right based on it. But the questioning part is so important. And we don't do that. We don't do that. So I just was thinking like, these are just the notes that I was having. Like nothing is learned. Everything is absorbed. There's all indoctrination. When we look at, you look at a lot of these different videos about what is the purpose of the school system, why it's set up like jails, why it's set up like all these different places to where they just want you to fall in line and follow this and follow that and follow this order. It's set up like the military, all these different things. There's a reason for all that. There's a reason for all that. And it's control. We don't want it. They don't want to have free thinkers. There's a reason why they have to waste from the time that we're 4 years old to 18, learning so much meaningless information. We don't learn how to communicate in relationships. We don't learn how to balance a checkbook. We don't learn how to pay taxes. We don't learn how to grow food. We don't learn about nutrition. We don't learn how to change a tire. We don't learn how to change all these different things that we don't learn that we're actually going to have to apply in life. It's substituted for meaningless information just to control us through those years. And think about those years. A lot of those years, from the time that we're in school, from the time that we're 4, let's say if we go to college to 22, you may just go to high school 18, may do grad school 26, 27, 28, whatever, depending on what you're studying. Those are our years. We're going back to this book. When we talk about imagination, those are the years where our imagination is the most vivid. Those are the years where we have the most energy, the most urgency, where we have the ability to question certain things, have the ability to try different things and want to grow in different areas. But instead, we're just controlled in that age range. We're indoctrinated. We're told to learn this. We're told to learn that. It's a system. It's a system to the point where once we get to 26, now we've invested so much in this system. Now we're just already accustomed to doing whatever we're told, and now just adapting to, well, what's the next step? Oh, now I go get a job. And now I go work to try to buy a home, with the family. Like it's a system. It's a system. Ant wrote, this all goes back to the quote from the book this morning about the cachet that attention carries and why it's such a valuable commodity. It's a fact. That's it. If they can, if somebody controls our focus and our attention, then they can control everywhere where we go in life. Everywhere where we go in life. And that a lot of times, in my opinion, is why we have all these radical, polarizing views right now, to where it seems like the more radical it gets, the less common sense it becomes. And the more
radical it gets, the more emotional people are. The more emotional people are, the more that they can be controlled and manipulated by somebody waving a carrot in their face, and then being riled up with just, hey, I'm a fanatic. I'm on this side. Whatever, it's whatever. Where it becomes like that stupid gang mentality, rather than us just stepping back and saying like, yo, I didn't take a blood oath for neither one of these groups. Like, let me take a step back and figure out what's best for me, what's best for my community. So these are just some of the things that, I think about. And one of the questions that I came across in my notes were, if they convince us to hate a lot of the people that are our heroes, who are they convincing us to love? Are they convincing us to love a lot of villains that we shouldn't love? Because they're convincing us to hate a lot of the people that are heroic. So why are they doing that? Why are they manipulating us to believe that? And then we have to look at, well, if they're convincing us to hate the people that are heroic, then maybe we need to look into who they're convincing us to love, what way of life they're convincing us to embrace, how that's impacted us, all these different things. These are just the different thoughts that come to my mind. And I want to share with y'all. Let me share with y'all real quick this video that I was talking about with Putin.
Over-vaccinated, over-medicated, overfed, sitting in front of boxes every night in their lounge rooms, eating food that has no nutrients, he said, and we know it's weakening the West. Is he right? Absolutely right. Unfortunately, Monsanto is so powerful and so wealthy and so big, they win every court case where Australians want GMO to be labelled on the products. Happens in America too, it's unfortunate. So how do you know? Well, you don't, unless you buy organic. You see, if an organic farmer uses genetically... Did you know that Vladimir Putin, the Russian's president, he's passed a law that any Russian who grows or sells genetically modified foods is to be considered a terrorist? Whew. He's even giving land away to Russians who will grow food organically, non-GMO. You put his name and GMO in Google that and you'll read the spiel. He says, we Russians look across at the West, over-vaccinated, over-medicated, overfed, sitting in front of boxes every night in their lounge rooms, eating food that has no nutrients, he said, and we know it's weakening the West. Is he right? Absolutely right. Unfortunately, Monsanto is so powerful and so wealthy and so big, they win every court case where Australians...
All right, so just wanted to share that with y'all, because that's a little bit of it paints a little bit of a different picture for me. I don't know if it does for y'all of who Putin is, because that picture right there, when you think about what's being illustrated with his character, is somebody that cares about his people, and that says a lot more than a lot of the people in this country who are in power, which allow us to just consume all this terrible food, genetically modified foods. Think about that. He made it a law to where genetically GMO food, genetically modified, what is it, organisms, whatever, I don't know, are illegal, a terrorist act. And he's providing funding for people to grow their own crops, all these different things. In this country, correct me if I'm wrong, first off, the ingredients that we allow in this country, a lot of the ingredients that we allow in our food is banned in most other countries, especially most, other first world countries. And also when it comes to the land, I mean, the food, our farmers are paid, incentivized to not grow food at times, to not grow vegetables. Why would you incentivize our farmers to not grow vegetables if they're able to grow organic vegetables, real, not GMO vegetables, fake food? GMO is fake food. Why would we not just have the farmers grow more food? Why would we want to have GMO? So when you think about all these type of things, it just makes you question things. For me, it just makes me question, what is the intent? What are the intentions behind the people that are setting laws and rules and regulations in our country? And everything that they say about other people in other countries is based on them wanting us to appear like we're number one, we're the best. Everybody else is shitty. Everybody else is doing this, doing that. They're criminals over there. You know, shout out to Hunter Biden. Everybody else over there is you guys get what I'm saying. So when I asked that question, you know, do the powers that be, are they convincing us to love villains and to hate heroes? And then the next question is, do the powers that be, do they do this because they convince themselves that what they're actually doing is for the greater good? That can be very dangerous. When you have a leader that convinces himself or herself that what they're doing is for the greater good of everybody, that can become dangerous, because it's like, oh, okay, yeah, I know that I'm killing, you know, this group or harming this group, but it's for the greater good. I don't know about that, but that's something that we need to take accountability for, make sure that we're doing our own research, and actually interested in a lot of these things and holding people accountable to it, and just having these thoughts in our head to just not just go along and get indoctrinated with what we're being told, but to actually just have a perspective to where it's like, oh, I'm just because somebody says that doesn't mean that I'm embracing it. Just because somebody said that doesn't mean that it's true. Just because somebody in a high position said it doesn't mean that it's real, or that you get what I'm saying. And the one thing that came up to me was Riley Gaines. So I'm not sure if we've talked about Riley Gaines. She's the swimmer. She's at Kentucky right now, but she was swimming with Leah Thomas. Leah Thomas is the Leah Thomas is the biologically born man that competes on the swimming team against women. And Riley Gaines is the person that was speaking up against it, saying like, this is not right. This is not fair to women. This is not okay. Something that is common sense to, I would say, 99% of the population. But what does society teach us? Let me be very clear. Riley Gaines, she's a biologically born woman. She's competing in swimming. She's very good. She's dedicated a lot of her life to swimming. She's put in a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. Imagine that. And then somebody with obvious advantages, physical advantages, a biologically born man, comes into her sport and starts taking away championships, taking away trophies, taking away certain accolades and achievements from women. Somebody that couldn't even compete when it came to the men. But society tells us that we should love Leah Thomas, the transgender person that's taking away opportunities from women, not acknowledging the fact that you have a significant advantage. But I guess going back to the first story, when you talk to, you know, like the woman that I was going back and forth with, her saying, oh, well, men and women, we're the same. That stuff is a slippery slope. It's a slippery slope. And this is what allows, you know, now them to have men playing women's sports. I don't care whether you identify as a trans woman. I don't care. You're a biologically born man. It's unfair for you to be playing sports against women, period. And most people would understand that and just like say like, yeah, you're right. But society tells us that we should love Leah Thomas. There was a situation with Riley Gaines and Leah Thomas where they tied, which is very uncommon. They tied in a meet or it was something like this. I believe it was they tied in a meet, but then they told Riley that, oh, well, you guys tied, but we're giving Leah the trophy. You know, you could take a picture with it, but we're putting her down as the winner and giving her the trophy. Why would you do that? Like, it doesn't even make sense. But so, meanwhile, Riley Gaines is the one getting all the hate mail and all that. She's being villainized as somebody that is transphobic and doesn't respect the rights of the LGBTQ community and all this other stuff. Like, what? Like, this is insane. Stuff that is common sense insanity is being pushed on us for us to accept. And what's wild is we end up accepting it, whether it's by default or intentionally accepting it. When I say by default, it's by us not saying anything. When we don't speak out on these certain things, when we only wait until it affects somebody in our family or us, we're allowing it to happen. And a lot of this stuff we're voting for without even knowing. because it's like, oh, well, I was convinced to hate that other side so much, and they're this and they're that, because there's only two popular parties and not a third one. If there was a third one, it can kind of check both sides to where it's like, yo, y'all are bugging, and we're gonna take your voters because y'all are going so far right, or the other side saying y'all bugging and we're gonna take your voters because they're going so far left. There's nothing in the middle that checks both sides. So therefore, people that don't think that it's right for Aaliyah Thomas, a man, to be playing against a woman, you don't even realize that when you vote for your particular group, if you're voting Democrat, let's say, for instance, you're voting for that, you're supporting that. But we don't know that. You get what I'm saying? So that's why I mean it's either by default or it's intentional. However, we got to understand that it has the same results. So that's kind of, where I wanted to just keep that, just to kind of get us to just think about, how do we receive information? Think about anything that we know. How do we receive it? Think about our opinions or some of the most polarizing topics that come up in this country. Why do we feel the way that we feel? Why are our opinions what they are? Is it because somebody told us, or is it because we found out on our own? And then if it is because somebody told us, why should we trust that person? Why should we trust that group? How do they benefit from us accepting what they're telling us is true? How do they benefit from us? Oh, they benefit from, all right, well, they get a lot of money. Well, shit. How many people out here you think will tell you whatever if they're getting a big paycheck? A lot of people, right? We talk all the time how there's not honor, integrity, values, and principles. It falls on the back burner when it comes to personal interest, personal gain for too many people, especially the people that are in power. A lot of these people that are in power, why are they in power? Because they just, that's what they yearn for. So they put everything else on the back burner, because if they put all their principles and morals and values on the back burner, it allows them to be more and more ruthless to get that power and to do certain things that they wouldn't necessarily do if they did have honor, morals, and principles. So therefore, they put that to the side and just do what's necessary and convince themselves that what they're doing is for the greater good. So they're just lying to themselves in order to justify doing fugazi, dishonorable actions. So that's what I wanted to leave y'all with. Whose prescription lens are we seeing the world through? Whose goggles, whose prescription lens are we seeing the world through? You know those things that people now put on, those reality things? I don't even know what they're called. Looks like reality, right? But that's just a metaphor for how we move about life. Those gamer things, whatever they're called. I don't even know what they're called, but those reality things where you put those things on, that little mask on or whatever. And that's exactly how we see the world. Our reality is being shaped by people who want to influence us for their own benefit, rather than our reality being shaped by our own personal experiences. Augmented reality goggles. That's what Ant said. Augmented reality goggles. We go through life with augmented reality goggles, just based on the influences that the powers that be or anybody influential in our life has. Why? Because we've been accustomed to do it from the time that we're babies, to just accept information from people that we can quote unquote trust. Because think about when you're a kid, how did you as a kid think about what the president? You thought the president was, oh my God, this is like, well, the president said it. You damn near, you value what the president said over your parents. You value your teachers, what they say. Your teachers could teach you something and you'll go back home and your parents will say one thing. Oh no, well, my teacher said this, mom and dad. You're wrong. Wait, what? Think about how we take in information. So just wanted to, give us something to think about, but make sure that your prescription is the right one. Make sure that your prescription is one that gives you information rather than one that gives you indoctrination. So to not end it on a I don't know, too much of a dark note. Hopefully this is enlightening, but if it is, on a dark note, I want to leave y'all off with this video that I came across. I came across it last week. I can't even remember who sent it to me, but I want to share it with y'all because it's this to me is what really life is all about. This is to me what really life is all about. And this moved me. And at the end of the day, we just got to be good people and make sure that we're using our influence. Everybody has an influence to just spread love more so than anything else, and just to embrace us, especially the people that are around us, the people that need us, the people that are good. Just, I don't know. This was just touching. Y'all tell me what y'all think. I just wanted to leave y'all with this. But this, shout out to my boy Shaden, man. He I'm not sure if y'all have seen this video, but it was moving for me. And I just kind of it made me feel bad at first, but then I was like, okay, there's some good people out here. So yeah, it ended up working out. But here we go. Let me pull this up on the screen. If y'all saw this, then y'all know what's about to happen.
What's up, man?
A homeowner has an unexpected visitor, a boy in need of help.
I just wanted to see if you knew any kids around like 11 or 12 maybe, because I need some friends, like really bad.
The homeowner says he knows of some kids in the neighborhood, but the youngster, who's wearing a Jaws t-shirt, reveals he has a problem.
Okay. Well, they're not my friends anymore because they're bullies to me.
Oh, I'm sorry about that, man.
The man isn't home, but he's touched by the earnest 12-year-old's story and continues to speak to him over ring cam.
I'm just wondering though, do you have any kids?
Yeah, she's 2 years old though, man.
Oh, okay, that's great. Because I love 2-year-olds, to be honest.
Cool, man. If I see you around, I'll tell you hi.
Okay.
All right, man.
You have a good day.
Homeowner Brennan Ray and his wife Angel posted the video, and it is now going viral with 10 million views.
I think everybody could feel it. He's begging for someone. He's calling out for some help.
How brave, goes one comment. I'd be his friend, goes another.
We were both getting emotional over it, and we're like, we need to do something about this.
They also made it a mission to meet young Shaden of Amarillo, Texas, in person. The connection was immediate. The boy even hit it off with their 2-year-old, just like he said he would.
I love 2-year-olds, to be honest.
Brennan's now wearing a Jaws t-shirt in solidarity with his new buddy. So what do Shaden and his mom Krishna think about all this attention?
I was just scared that Shaden would be a victim of more bullying. But when I saw all the love and affection, it was awe-inspiring and beautiful. And the two people who created this video have the biggest heart of gold.
As for the boy who was once in desperate need of friends,
I need some friends, like really bad.
we're happy to report things have changed. Have you made new friends now because of this video?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. How's that make you feel?
My confidence has gone through the roof.
Inside Edition brought the group together. You guys all consider yourselves friends now?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I think family is a better word.
And it's getting better. A GoFundMe.
Hey, yo, shout out my boy, man. I don't know. Hopefully that was as touching to y'all as it was to me, but sometimes I feel like we never realize the positive influence that we can have on different people and how many people really need it. Like that, I see that video and I'm like, yo, I just want to help out some kids, because a lot of times, you never know what anybody's going through. We can get caught up in our own, situations. But yeah, shout out to my boy Shaden, man. Shout out to, I believe the guy's name was Brennan, but yeah, just hopefully we can be a good influence to a lot of people and be a blessing, and share some positive, energy. So, and shout out my brother Queez tapped in. Shout out to Lucille. But yeah, just want to leave y'all with that. And yeah, Queez wrote, Lucille wrote, good morning, wishing you all a blessed new week. Thank you, Lucille, for that. Ant wrote, he made it happen. Closed mouths don't get fed. So shout out to, for real, shout out to him for having the courage to even, go around, because a lot of kids wouldn't do what he did. A lot of kids would just be at home getting depressed, But that's a special young man right there, special young man. So, and Queez wrote Good Souls. So Good Souls, we'll finish it out on that. Queez always gives us the good outro, whether it's Good Souls, whether it starts with me. But just a reminder, any change that we want to see throughout the world, let's not sell ourselves short. We can impact it. We can impact it within, ourselves first. It starts with me. That's what Queez said. And then it'll start to spread. It'll be contagious. So let's make that contagious. We got a lot of negative stuff that's contagious. No reason why the positive stuff can't be contagious as well. So, yeah, man, appreciate y'all for tapping in. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. Have a great Monday. Make it your best Monday yet. Set a plan for the week. And just as we go throughout the week, just start checking them off. And we'll get to Friday and be able to celebrate a lot of the stuff that we accomplished for the week, or whether that's Saturday, or maybe you got to push it off to Sunday because we got to, get the stuff done regardless. But strength and honor, onward and upward. Get to the bag with big integrity, of course. And I'll see y'all on Wednesday. All right. Have a good one. Ooh.